Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamer Science Podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always is Eric and Nathaniel. What is going on, fellas?
Nothing. It's been hot. As I heard, it's been hot over there. Toasty.
Yes, it's been
Summer.
very hot.
Summer.
Yeah, it's been up until just a couple of weeks ago. It was actually a mild summer, but now all of a sudden it's a hot summer. So
It's been a hot summer all the time. You're just
well,
not
yeah.
paying attention.
Oh no, it's been hot down in North Carolina. It has not been hot here.
I mean, it hasn't been as hot, but it's still muggy, so it doesn't matter. It still feels gross. No matter what.
There was a while, most of June, it wasn't too bad here. It wasn't muggy, it wasn't real hot, and then 4th of July rolled around, and then all of a sudden you could just cut it with a knife, you know. But fair's in a week around here, so it'll be nothing but 100 degrees and pouring the rain all week, because that's what happens in fair time.
Usually what happens. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair's always the week before school starts, so because got to get them farm kids to get their projects in before school starts. So yeah, so fair time's always a fun time around here. Well, I mean, if you like the fair, which I don't.
Okay, go look at stuff. I haven't been in a couple of years though.
I used to go all the time, in high school and stuff. And once I didn't have to go anymore, it was I could choose not to go if I didn't want to. It was kind of like, I don't want to go anymore. It's not that fun.
Is it pretty? Is it just is it a county fair or is it like a state fair?
County fair. Yeah.
County fair.
Yeah, no, the state fair is way over in the other part of the state, so it's a state fair is a good ways away. And I mean, I guess if you like country music and concerts and stuff, you would like the state fair. They do a lot of that.
All right. Yeah, I think I've been to the Washington State Fair once as a kid, but I live on the other side of the state, and the Washington State Fair is on the wetter Seattle side. And even once as a kid, it's fine. It's just big, just like a big county fair, pretty much, with more things to do and more food. Yeah. Lots more food.
See, our county fair, we've got the largest county fair in the state, so
cool.
It's about the size of the state fair usually. It's pretty big. So yeah, I mean, state fair's fine and all, but once you've been to the county fair, it's like, if like I said, if you like big name concerts, big name music stuff, then state fair, sure. But other than that, So, but I haven't been to the fair in 25 years, probably, maybe longer than that.
Oh.
You used to have to go every day, and it was just like I said, once you got to the point where you were old enough that you didn't have to go if you didn't want to, it was kind of like, you know what? I'm not going. But I know there's some folks around here. Okay. They take a vacation week, they take a camper up there, and they stay the whole week, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
I mean, we have the fair very close here. The one in Raleigh area.
Yeah.
But I've yet to ever go to that one. I've been to a fair a few times enough that I'm like, yep, I've had enough fairs in my life. I don't need to go again.
Good.
I went to we accidentally went to the Forsyth County Fair up in Winston one year, and I say accidentally because they put it in. They have it in the same place where the football stadium's at for Wake Forest University. And there was a football, there was a football game that day against Navy, and we had tickets. So the fair was going on right across the street from the football game. So we accidentally went to the fair while we were there because you just kind of, you want something to eat? Well, we'll just pay to get in the fair and go over there and have some fair food, after the game or before the game or whatever. Yeah. Seems like a terrible time to have a fair during football season when football games are going on when you have it in the same place. But, I mean, Winston's not that big. I say that, and they do that in Texas, and they have the Texas. Is it
Texas
the Texas?
State Fair?
Yeah, they have the Texas State Fair, and they have the A&M and Oklahoma, or the Texas and Oklahoma game at the fairgrounds the same weekend or something like that.
So.
It's something insane. It's like, why would you want to have a football game at a fair, the same place you have the fair, and the football game, 70,000 people show up for it, and then you have a fair on top of it.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, they do bigger things in Texas, I guess. So that's what they say anyway. I don't know. Never been. But anyway, we're not here to talk about county or state fairs. We're here to talk about video games. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of video games to talk about. Like I said, I really haven't played anything. And I know, Nathaniel, you got here, you played the Expanse episode 1. I played maybe 15 minutes of it. I did buy it. Because it's a Telltale game. I know nothing about the Expanse other than it's a sci-fi thing. That's all I know. That's all I know about the Expanse.
I know much more than you then.
Well, and I don't know if you play the game and you don't know anything about the Expanse, if that's
fine.
Yeah, I didn't figure.
It's cool. It's before the show by I forget how many years. So yeah, you don't.
Okay. Well, that's perfect then. Yeah. Like I said,
the main character that you play as is a character in the show that shows up a little bit later on in the show.
Now, is it voiced by the person that's in the show?
Yep, same person.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yep.
I played it like I said.
Oh yeah, that's that character.
I watched the opening thing. I went and talked to the people about the thing we were starting to do, and that's when I had to walk away. So it's like I barely played it. It looks pretty though for a Telltale game. the engine that they're using now is great. It must be. Was it
Oh,
Unreal
it's
5?
not the old one.
Oh,
So yeah, I
yeah.
think it's Unreal something. I think, but I'd have to look into it. I can't
Yeah,
remember what
I
this
can't
is.
remember. I immediately looked at it and went, well, that's not the old engine. That is brand new. So
It looks nice, and I didn't run any new bugs in it. So far, good job.
yeah,
More
Yeah.
than some old Telltale games for
Yeah,
sure.
What's
really.
funny is my buddy at the yard sale today was talking about the Expanse show. So it's interesting. You guys talking about the game. Must be a sign. I think I'm gonna have to buy it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, well,
So it's going to be over the next, month and a half or so, because they're waiting a couple weeks in between each episode. So at least it's not as long as old Telltale, where it's maybe a couple
right.
months if you're lucky.
How long is the first episode? How long did it take you?
Depends on how thorough you are. If you're like me, geeking out over all the details, it took me a couple hours, but you
Okay.
could get through quicker than that.
Yeah,
It's pretty much a setup episode for the most part.
I figured. Yeah,
But yeah, even then they still kind of throw you into it. Then you like learn some bits and bobs as you go through. If you aren't familiar with the Expanse, if you are, then you're like, "Ooh, I know that thing, and I know that thing too. That's cool."
yeah. And I like I say, I know nothing about the Expanse, but it's a new Telltale game, and I always like all the Telltale games, even if it's something that I don't know anything about. It's like I still buy it and play it because I like those narrative.
Yeah,
story
and the most recent Borderlands one was on sale for like $10 for like a month, and I was like, all right, I'll buy it on Amazon. Okay, I'll get to it
Yeah, I
sometime.
wanted to buy it on PC, but it never got that cheap on PC. It was that cheap on everything else, but it wasn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't on PC for some reason. So
I mean, I'm sure it will be at some point.
It will.
yeah, it was half price the other day. It was like $25 or something like that, and I almost bought it. But
I made that my goal. I mean, I own most of those digitally, and I was thinking the other day, I'm like, is Walking Dead the only one I own physically? Maybe one of the Batmans. I'm like, I need to buy the others. Like, I should get Wolf Among Us. I mean, even though Game of Thrones, I should still buy it.
I have
just to have it.
I have Wolf Among Us on Vita physically.
Oof.
And I have Batman physically on Xbox, but they didn't make season 2 of Batman physically, I don't think.
They didn't? Or was it just an empty box of code?
I don't even think it was an empty box of code. I don't think they did anything with it, if I remember right. I don't think
Limited Run, where are you?
Yeah, I don't think there was a physical version of that. If there was, I never got it. And that's kind of odd because, usually with the Batman games, I always collect those when I buy them, but I also buy them digitally. But no, I bought the Expanse so I could play it on the Ally, but of course I don't have the Ally, so it was like, well, I'll play a little bit of it on the PC. And
Yeah, I'll have to replay it on there because I played it on my desktop.
Yeah, but so what'd you think of it? Did you like it?
It's awesome for one episode where you're like, oh man, now I want the next one. So it definitely gets you hooked. At least it did me.
Did you buy the collectors or the higher price one, the one that was $5 more because it has the bonus episode?
I didn't until I pre-ordered it a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks, I forget, because I'm like, I know I'm going to be playing it. Maybe it was about a month ago.
Yeah.
I got to play it a day early for pre-ordering it, and then when I looked, I was like, oh, hey, there was something with an extra bonus episode, and I don't know if that's out yet or not, but I looked at the Epic Store, I was like, there's no, upgrade option like you can on Steam sometimes, or if there is, I didn't find it. So I just have the regular version.
Gotcha. I bought when it said it was like $5 more, it was just like, it comes with an extra episode, I'll just buy that version of it, so...
If I'd seen that when I was buying it, I probably would have. I just didn't see it.
Yeah. It was a weird thing because you had to click on it in a different... I don't know. The Epic Game Store drives me crazy, but I'm just so used to Steam.
Oh, yes. And how I can't activate it I can't use it on my phone. It's a super freaking annoying. I want to look at my game library, right? Well, got to only look at my PC or my Chromebook, and I'm just like, argh!
Yeah.
The other ones let me look. I just want to see if I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Yeah, it would. But yeah, I'm excited to go back and play it. So
cool.
So yeah, if you're not aware of what The Expanse is, it was a series of books that then got adapted into a show that went for 3 seasons on Sci-Fi Channel, then got canceled, and then almost immediately, within a month or two, if it wasn't even that long, Amazon picked it up and ran it for 3 more seasons.
Oh, did they run it for 3 seasons? Wow, I didn't realize they ran it for that long.
I was thinking 6 total seasons. The 6th season is shorter. It's kind of almost like what they did with the later seasons of Game of Thrones. It's fewer episodes, but they are a little bit longer, so they can, and that way they can also spend more budget for special effects and stuff on it. So I think the sixth season is like 6 episodes or something.
Huh. I did not realize it ran that long. I thought it was only like 4 seasons or something.
It's the best sci-fi. It's in the top, 10, top 5 ever, even in my opinion. And it's definitely the best sci-fi in the past decade.
Yeah,
it's the best sci-fi since kind of like Battlestar Galactica was on, when it was kind of like the premier sci-fi show. That everybody's like, "Oh, this is the most awesome sci-fi."
Yeah,
like
I like
the Expanse
that a lot.
is similar kind of boat. It's a really cool universe with lots of cool characters in it. The story's really good, and then the show starts well and just keeps getting better as it goes, pretty much. So what's not to like? But anyway, like I said before, the game is set before that, so it's a character that you see. I think she shows up in season 2 is the first time she shows up in the show.
Okay.
And so you're playing it like, decade or whatever before the events of the show kick off, and you're playing as Drummer. What's her last name? So she's a XO on a scavenger ship.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just running through, and you meet all the crew kind of at the beginning of the game, and then you're going into kind of like a scavenge job. A couple things happen while that goes on. A couple things go wrong, and then the episode ends, and you're like, "Oh, but I want more." That's pretty much all you get in this episode, unless you're like me and it's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna spend every moment looking at every nook and cranny and clicking on every single thing that you can click on, and then just also looking at all the details that you can't click on," because they did a really good job of adapting the design of the show, but like video gaming it up a little bit. So just the kind of lived in grungy feel of the ships is still kind of there in the game, which is cool.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, I get to wander around this kind of ships. It's not like the ship is something that was on the show or anything like that, but
right.
It's still just you're in this universe walking around. Later on, when you get off the ship, you actually get 0G sections. So whenever there's no gravity, you have some controls for like you can either have your mag boots on and you're walking on all the metal surfaces, or you can release and float in the air, and then you can kind of like you can rotate either way or go up and down. There's a couple different controls to do it, so it actually works pretty well. So you're floating around different pieces of this wreck that you're scavenging and finding all sorts of different things. And you can spend as much or as little time as you want on it. If you just want to go play through the story, there's a nice little objective marker that you can just like ping a button and it'll be like, go over there.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to use it, then don't hit the button. Yeah. So I'm excited. I don't know. I've purposefully not looked into it. I don't know how big of a budget or not they have for this thing, so I don't know if in future episodes we're going to go off to other things, because there's space stations and other places in the Expanse that would be cool to go to see, just because seeing them in the shows, going and wandering around them would be fun, but I don't know if that's in the scope for this game or not. I have no idea, but I know it's like every couple weeks for episodes. I think the next one's August 10 or something like that.
It's August 10th, and then the 24th, and then September.
So it goes through like mid-September. Yeah, it's 5 total episodes, I think. So
yeah, I was looking at the Wikipedia page here to see the release dates of it.
So yeah, I really, really like it. It's awesome. The Expanse is a cool universe. Even if this is your introduction to it, I think they did a pretty good job of getting the flavor of it. And there might be some stuff that you'll won't understand, like the Belter language. You'll just be like, wait, what is this?
Yeah.
Because they have their own, it's kind of like this weird mix of things, and they throw it together, and then there's like a bunch of English, and then there's some other words thrown in that are all these different slang terms and stuff as well, and then it's got a little bit of a different rhythm to it, and they have like a much thicker accent than any of the other characters that are from like Earth or Mars or something, which they have their own sort of accents as well, but not to the same degree as the Belters. So because the main character, she did it on the show, she can just do it easy. She nails it. But then the couple other characters that are in the game that are also Belters, the actors did a pretty good job of doing it as well. It's not something that you just jump into and easily do. There is a poster that you can find in the game that has a few Belter language terms on it. It's funny.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's in the mess hall or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it was way early. I did actually see that. I was like, what? What are they talking about? I don't know what that is. Okay.
Yeah, so like when they're talking in the dialogue, they'll just roll it off and they're just like going through, and it's just like you got to keep up, and then you kind of by context can sort of like get the idea or the gist of them, not necessarily the meaning, but the feeling of the word, like, oh, that's a curse, or whatever.
Right.
But if, like me, you've seen 6 seasons of the show and read not all the books because I got to get back to them, but so you have some of those in your head, you're just like, oh yeah, I heard that like 8 billion times on the show. I know what that means.
How many books
I
are there?
still can't say it. Like the books, there's like 8 or 9 or 10
Looks
or
like
something like that.
9.
They didn't make it all the way through the books for the show. They only went partway through.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like 9. I was just looking at here. Or
Yeah.
series 8. 8. Let me click on here and see.
But yeah, like the books are really good too.
Eight.
At least the ones I've read. I've read 3 or 4. I can't remember where I left off because I read a bunch of them a while back, and then I was like, I'm gonna wait for the show to end, and then the show ended, and I still haven't gotten back to actually reading the books because I have other things I want to read, and video games I want to play, and shows I want to watch, and only so much time to do all of that.
So is the books better than the show, or the show better than the books, or are they both about the same? Would you say?
I mean, I'd say they're both the same.
Okay.
The people who wrote the books, it's kind of like one author name is on the book, but it's actually 2 people,
Oh.
and they were involved with the show, or one of them was. I can't remember now. I'd have to look it up specifically. So yeah, like the show there's some stuff that's different. There's some stuff like the character that you play in this game was a character made up for the show, but is kind of like a combination of a bunch of side characters from the books, and then because everybody really liked her when her first season, she was only there a little bit, they kept expanding kind of like her role later on and kept doing it, so she's much bigger in the show than in the books, because I think there is a character named Drummer in the books, but I can't remember for sure. I have to reread them and then get to the stuff that I haven't, so I couldn't tell you that. But
see, I found when I was listening to the Harry Potter books, and then when I'd finish a book, I would go watch the movie. I found the books a lot better than the movies. That's why that's why now I kind of ask. It's like, well, if they have the books, yeah, would it be better for me to watch the TV show or read the books, which is more, and like the Harry Potter series, I found the books. So
because it's a show, it's not like Harry Potter where you're going to a movie and you only have a couple hours to cram everything in, and then you can't do that even for the shortest Harry Potter books, and some of them are longer than other ones.
Yeah.
Or any just movie adaptation, there's only so much you can cram into a few hours, right? Whereas a show, you have a whole season and you still have to edit some stuff out or whatnot, but you can fit a lot more in there.
I need to see if the audiobooks are any good.
I don't know. Well. I haven't heard about them. I've just have the hard copies that I read.
Yeah, that would. I'm always running out of stuff with audiobooks.
Yeah, both the books and the show are well loved, and so I don't know. I would start with the show, honestly, if you haven't done either.
I started watching the show.
I'm sure other people would tell you different.
I don't remember why I didn't. I don't know how far into the first episode I got. And it may have been one of them things. So you need to watch.
If you start the show, watch at least up to episode 4, and even like a little bit before that, because the first couple episodes, especially, are very much world building and establishing like the characters in the universe. And there's some stuff. It's still stuff that happens, but it's a lot of setup and other things. And like I was hooked instantly, but I know some other people weren't. But once you get to the part where like there's like a big thing that happens at the end of the first episode too, not by any means, but like once you hit like episode, it's 3 or 4, I forget. It really kicks off, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm completely hooked.
Yeah. Well,
but they got to get some of those establishing stuff out of the way so that you know who is who kind of stuff, and it takes a little bit to do that.
Yeah, it looks like I started watching it. I'm about episode 1. I'm about a quarter of the way through it. It looks like
so you didn't watch hardly any.
No, apparently I didn't hardly watch any. It's like. It's like I'm just looking. Yeah, I've got 30 minutes left in the first episode. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, for you, I think if you got to the end of the first episode, that would hook you at least a little bit. And then once you get to the end of episode 3, 4, whatever, where another big inciting incident thing happens, then you'll be fully in.
I do like short seasons. I like 10 episode seasons, or 12. Those are nice. And
that's what these are.
Yeah, I don't like that was why I stopped watching like the DC stuff on the CW. I really enjoyed it, but it was really hard to keep up with 5 shows a week. They were all 45 minutes to an hour, and there was like 22 of them, a season. It was like, it's like I'm not dedicating my life to watching these.
You gotta hit that sweet spot, though. You gotta hit, like, I think 10 episodes minimum, maybe 8 if you've got really, really good writers. But also, you have to have your writers understand the show you're making and understand how to construct a whole season.
Yeah.
Because regardless of how many episodes you want or have, sometimes they're just like, oh, we're putting way too much, so it all feels super rushed. Or like, oh, we don't have enough, so it feels stretched, even though it's like, short. So you still have to have really good writers.
Well, and that was like the thing.
And pay them.
Right, yeah, exactly. That was like the thing with the DC shows. I really liked like The Flash and Arrow, but you'd have 4 or 5 really good episodes that were kind of tied together.
And then 5 that are crap.
Well, then there was like a filler episode that was like, it had nothing to do with anything. It was just like, it's a little side story thing.
Because they're old style TV.
But that's the way it is for like the CW. That's funny because it made me think there's another show that like it was on Netflix and I was watching. I'm like, man, this format looks familiar. Yep, it was originally on the CW, just like the way it's like set up.
Yeah, any network TV stuff's like that because you have to have like 22 episodes. They don't do.
I mean,
at least it's not like it was. We've been watching the Drew Carey show. By the time we got to season 3, those were 28 episode seasons. It was like, holy crap.
Man.
Well, at a half-hour sitcom episode, they're only like 20 minutes, so it's really not that big a deal. But if it was like an hour show, it was like, holy fright, 28 episodes of a...
Well, that's a lot of Star Trek series would get up to like 26 episodes.
Here's a show question I know John's probably excited about. Disney confirmed we're getting more Daredevil, right?
Yeah, they're getting it at some point.
But did they confirm anything else? Like Punisher? Or are they going to?
I read there was going to be a Punisher. They said they were going to do Punisher.
I don't know that they've officially said a Punisher show.
And then they took Iron Fist and they shoved Iron Fist underneath the rug. They're like,
well, all they've said was Punisher and Jessica Jones, but that's all I've heard so far.
If it was Daredevil, I mean, I think those 3. Although Jessica Jones is probably as popular as Luke Cage.
Yeah, I'm tentatively excited about Daredevil, but only to a small degree because of one big thing: they do not have the same quality of a stunt team as the original show had.
I think about that.
And also it's on Disney Plus, and like so far most of the stuff on Disney Plus is only going to go like so dark.
Yeah. You know what actually is surprisingly good for Marvel shows on Disney Plus is What If. John, did you watch What If?
What If sucks.
I liked it. I like the storyline.
I couldn't get through the first episode because the animation is trash, and I'm an animation snob, so take that with a grain of salt.
That was the same thing with me. That was the same thing with me. The animation put me off, and I couldn't watch it. Yeah,
it made me angry because this is Marvel and Disney, who has plenty of money, and it looks like they cheaped out and did it for as cheap as they possibly could, and maybe it's just something to do with.
And that's what bugged me about Rebels too, because I know both you guys like Star Wars Rebels, but I couldn't get into the
Rebels
styles.
Even the first season of Rebels is a bajillion times better than What If.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But see, like I like Clone Wars, right? But I couldn't get into the animation style of Rebels. I think it's something that looks to me more like.
Well, Rebels isn't even that far off from like early to mid Clone Wars. They're very similar.
I thought it looked the same to me.
It's not as good as the final season of Clone Wars that came out like a decade later, and they spent a whole ton of money on. It's not that, but
now Resistance, that Star Wars Resistance show, I didn't like the animation of it. I watched it, but I didn't like the animation.
Did you like I like Bad Batch, and I liked
and that's
what was the anime one with the shorts, really short
Visions.
Like, Visions. I like that.
Visions.
That was really interesting.
Yeah, those are cool.
Visions is cool because it's just like here, have a sample platter of a bunch of different
like a bite-sized piece, right? 5-7 minutes. I'm like, famous anime director. This is cool.
Yeah.
So there's another like Star Wars short series coming too, right?
I'm sure there's a ton of Star Wars things.
Well, Ahsoka will be out next month.
Yeah, and I know you guys have told me to keep trying Rebels, so I will give it another try. Can I just skip the first season?
Dude, I am rewatching Rebels. It's so good.
I don't know.
Give me a synopsis of the first season.
I don't know if I would skip the first season or not.
I'll try.
I can't remember. I mean, I've watched it 3 times. I
would not skip the end of the first season for sure.
Yeah.
The last like 2 or 3 episodes.
I'm using a watch guide for Clone Wars too. I think I'm like halfway through following this like watch guide. It's interesting, but I get bored. I watch a couple.
Clone Wars, anything like
Clone
that.
Wars is like after season It's like season 1 and 2 is like there's some good ones in there, but there's not as much great stuff. And then once you hit season like 3 and 4 and 5, it's really good then.
I will make another effort to watch Rebels. Oh, Tales of the Jedi. That's the other one I was thinking about.
Tales of the Jedi is great.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a little 6 season. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I like 6 episodes, nice and short.
Yeah, that one's really good. I watched that. Yeah, I like that.
And I think that's also like Dave Filoni and stuff, so it's the same team that did Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff.
What I like about Rebels and Clone Wars is that's what I put on when I'm eating dinner.
Okay, so you can watch it, like pay attention, but you don't have to like really.
Right? Yeah, I don't have to be intense watching it. So, and I need
a few episodes where they get you. You're like, ooh.
Yeah, there's
rewind. What's going on?
You know, and I always think of it like the stuff they sell like at Disney World at the Disney parks. Like I bought a Jedi and a Sith holocron, and if you turn them on and you set them on top of each other,
they do stuff.
They do stuff. Well, they talk, and it's
they talk to each other.
It talks, and it's the dude from Rebels, the big monster dude who wasn't light side and wasn't dark side. You know who I'm talking about, Nathaniel.
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I'm thinking
I forget his name because it's been a while since I've seen those episodes.
I can't remember his name either. But it's funny. It's like if somebody got these two things and put them together and didn't watch didn't watch Rebels and know what that was, it was like you'd be like, what is this? I don't know what this is. It's like stuff like that. It's like.
Speaking of Rebels, have you guys seen the Hasbro campaign for the Ghost from Rebels? It's like this huge thing. Have you seen video of it on the floor at Comic-Con?
Yeah, it's humongous.
I was watching the Adam Savage Tested channels interviewing the guys, and they're showing like B-roll of this thing. It's huge. You can like take off the thing, and like the figures it's like scaled to the figures, so you can put them in the ship. They fit through the doors and all this stuff.
Yeah, it's 3/4 or 3/4 scale figures. I forget how wide it's the biggest one they've ever made, though.
Yeah.
So, but I saw that. It's like $500.
I was like, oh, $500. Yeah, nope. But it's cool to look at online.
You know, they made a Razor Crest that was like that too a couple years ago.
Yeah, but not as big.
Not as big, and it's like, man, what would you? I did the HasLab for the His Tank for G.I. Joe, which is 6-inch scale. I also did the HasLab this year for G.I. Joe, which was the Dragonfly helicopter. Cool. It's 3 foot long. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's a helicopter that is 3 foot
How heavy is it?
I don't know. Don't have a clue.
From the ceiling?
Don't know. I won't know till it gets here next summer. I won't know.
Cool. But you didn't know how big it was. You're like, all right.
Oh, no, I knew how big it was, but okay. I just went, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I've got to have it.
That's a future John problem.
Yeah, that's a future John problem. I'm not worried about it today. I've got a whole year to worry about what I'm going to do with it. Nikki was like, are you really going to get that? I'm like, yeah, I am. Because I remember getting the Dragonfly when I was a kid for the 3/4 scales. And when I saw it in 6-inch scale, I went, I have to have that. It's just like, what are you going to do with that? I go, I don't know, but I have to have it. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But yeah, it's like 2.5, 3 foot long. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. And that Ghost ship is the same length as that. So it's like, if somebody collected all those things, the big Razor Crest, that thing, the Jabba's Palace, the sail barge, they did a sail barge that was like that for the 3/4.
I mean, they need to do one that size for like the Millennium Falcon and stuff too, just some of the classic ships.
Yeah, that would be cool. But it's like,
and while they're at it, get licenses and do like a bunch of like Star Trek ships and stuff too. Like all of them would be cool.
Yeah, where would you, if you were somebody that collected all those things, where would you put those things at? What would you do with them?
You would need you'd
make a museum of
you'd have
giant ship Star Wars toys.
Of course, I say that, and I'm like, I've got a 6-inch scale His Tank that's like 2 feet tall, and then I've got a helicopter coming that's 3 foot long. What am I going to do with any of them? So it's like,
just put them on your roof like a Christmas decoration or something.
I don't know. I'm excited, but at the same time, it's like, holy crap! What am I thinking?
Couldn't tell you, John.
I don't know, but anyway, you've been playing Jedi Survivor too, right?
Yes, I have.
You're probably farther along in it than I am because I was about 15 hours in when my ally had to go back. So
definitely further than you then.
Yeah, so
because I put a lot of time into it because I'm like, I want to get as far as I can before the Expanse comes out, and then the Expanse is short, and then I played some more, and I'm like, I want to get as much through, maybe finish before Baldur's Gate comes out. I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, I mean Baldur's Gate's what, Wednesday?
Yeah.
something like
Yeah,
that.
I plan to spend a little bit of time this weekend on it, and then kind of get ready for when the game comes out.
Yeah, but
yeah, Jedi Survivor. I don't know, maybe 30 hours in, something like that.
Yeah.
Equal parts, kind of going through the story and then wandering off and doing whatever. So I've been kind of, depending on my mood, tonight I'm just going to wander around and see what kind of random collectibles I can find. Or like, no, I want to do the story tonight, so I'm going to mainline that.
Yeah, that's what's nice about that game is you can really kind of do whatever.
Yeah, they've patched it a bunch on PC, so that I was like, all right, I'll finally start playing it, and it runs pretty well most of the time.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
There's weird bugs in there that, like, why does this exist? Like, when you
click
on the galaxy map, it goes down to like 5 frames a second. I'm like, it's the galaxy map on your ship. You're choosing a planet. It's a glorified menu. Why is this chugging the frame rate?
My favorite thing that game does, not only that, my favorite thing that game does is when you're running or falling or something like that, and your hair goes, it sticks straight up. It doesn't flow. It sticks straight up like Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know if you've ever noticed that.
It doesn't do that.
But it does that.
Either it only does it for whatever specific hairstyle you did, or they patched it since then, because it moves, but it looks like like the wind and stuff is pulling it like it should.
See, the last time I played it, it didn't do. It was just I just have the basic starter hairstyle, and if you would fall or slide down something, it would just go. It was like a roof flap on a NASCAR. It would just flap up like to keep him down, but it would be like in little spikes. It was the weirdest thing. So
that is one of the things on this one that, like, they got rid of the paint jobs for your ship, but they added so many other customization things and kept, the lightsaber stuff too that was in the previous game.
Yeah.
But you can do like BD1 paints, you can do lightsaber parts and materials. You get so many different outfits for Cal and different like hairstyle for both just hair and facial hair.
Yeah.
And it's good. I've got kind of a weird punk vibe. Well, I don't know if punk's the right word, but my Cal has like a full beard and a mohawk.
Oh, okay. You didn't go the mullet route that a lot of people have been going.
I didn't find the mullet until I was watching a Let's Play. I was like, oh, I totally just didn't go there.
Oh.
Oops, and I went and got it, and I'm like, I don't want a mullet. Mullet's dumb.
Everybody
I want to be like a space biker or something. I just don't have an outfit that looks like a space biker necessarily.
Yeah,
but
they were. Everybody was making him look like what's his name from The Office, his buddy with the handlebar mustache and the mullet. That he was his neighbor at in the apartment complex.
Oh, that's not The Office.
Or not The Office.
Office Space.
Office Space. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It was Office Space. But yeah, everybody was.
I need to get that facial hair because I don't have that one.
Yeah.
I have a couple versions of dumb goatees and like normal ones. So I'm just like, I've got the full beard because it looks good. The hair in the game looks good. So I'm like, I'll do a full beard because I don't know, why not? And then I had kind of like the default outfit for a while, and I've got, I forget what it's called, but it looks really cool. There's a ton of good outfits. It's just, if you want to like theme your character to stuff, you can do that for sure. And then even each one kind of, once you unlock it, you have to find it kind of twice, and you get colors unlocked for it when you find it the second time.
Yeah, I really hadn't messed with a whole lot of the cosmetic stuff. I've unlocked a lot of it, and I kind of went through and looked at it, but then I just left him as a default. So
default is dumb, John. Default is dumb.
Default's like my action figure of him, so it's like
yeah, but your action figure is dumb because it doesn't have like cool hairstyles and stuff. I don't know.
I know.
I just like it because I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna have him be the boring one that everyone else has. I'm gonna have him be my cool Cal, and he's gonna be running around the galaxy with a cool beard and a mohawk. Because why wouldn't you? And now that I've been playing it that long, I'm like, you know what? We need a Star Wars movie, like official character with a mohawk.
That can happen.
Main character movie, because why not?
Sure. I mean, it can happen. They got new movies and stuff coming out. It can happen.
Yeah. I mean, this game is awesome. Like, the first one was really good, and this one's, like, better in every category other than performance, where it's just kind of rough out of the gate. And then at this point, it's pretty good for most platforms. It's... Every once in a while, you'll still run into some stuff where it slows down, or like a couple of weird like bugs for kind of like physics a couple times, but most of the time it's fine.
Yeah.
Like 99% of the time it's fine, at least for me on my system.
Yeah, so I've never had any problems with it on PC. I mean, it would run, frame rate was always high, it ran real good, so
Not for me. Mine frame rate's high most of the time, and then it has a few parts where it's just like, oh, that area needs some attention. Something weird happened.
I hadn't noticed.
It's only happened a couple times out, but like the one specific one that I know everybody has seen is the stupid galaxy map. I'm like, but why is that even a thing in the first place? And then two, why haven't you fixed it by now? Because it's been, plenty of time. Surely somebody's told you about it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's just difficult to fix because it's something weird.
Maybe, who knows? Yeah, I mean it's a weird thing, and it really drags it down when you play it on the Steam Deck or the Ally. But I mean, even on the Ally, I can only get it maybe steady 30 frames, 45 most of the time. But on PC, on the desktop side, usually it's flawless. Except for the
it has a big variance, so it's like depending on what map or something I'm on, it might be running like 60, 70, and some other places it'll be running like 100 or
right,
more,
yeah. But once you get, for me, once I get above 50 frames a second, I can never tell a lot, unless it drops below 30 or something, usually I don't even notice it. So that's always a good thing. So
I mean, I've got a nice variable refresh monitor. So
I do too. So
that helps.
That helps. I don't even pay.
That does it for sure.
That's what I like about playing it on the Ally over the Steam Deck is, it's a variable refresh rate screen too, so you don't notice it as much on like you do on the Steam Deck. And that's why it's kind of been hard for me that's what I've been in the mood to play, and it's been hard for me to go back and play it on the Steam Deck. It's like, well, I'll just wait till my Ally gets here. Well, I'll just wait till my Ally gets here. When's my Ally ever going to get here? So like I said the last episode, I'd almost just decided I'm going to go buy another one and just...
That's what you get for using SD cards.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like not even... And but that's the bad thing is I haven't even really been using the SD cards. They've been in there and they've had games loaded on them, but I never played anything off of them. They were just there.
You're probably not the only guy. It's probably a flaw in the design, honestly.
Oh, it's 30. There's 3% fail rate with those things. I mean,
you said 3%, not 30, right?
No, I said 30.
You said 30.
30?
I said 30.
Yeah. Holy cow!
Yeah, there's 30% of those that launch that with SD cards.
You put the SD card in the toaster part of the board where it just turns up and just
and they put it
if they'd the SD card going in the toaster.
If they'd put it on the other side where the GPU and the CPU wasn't, that they put it all on the same side, so it runs about 15 degrees hotter out of the left side than it does the right side, and that side's the side you put the SD card on. It's like, I know a lot of people didn't like it that it was on the bottom of the Steam Deck. Put it on the bottom. There's nothing down there. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
But we'll see what they did to mine. I heard they just been swapping motherboards out is what they've done to repair them. Just swap the motherboard out, so...
I mean, it might be all they can do because if the thing is on the motherboard, you have to do the whole board. You can't just do a card reader in there.
Makes me wonder if there's like a newer motherboard where things run a little cooler. I don't know. We'll find out because as soon as it comes in, this hard drive's going back in, and we're loading Jedi Survivor back up, and I'm, that's what I'm going to finish playing. So we're going to cook it again.
Yeah, all the improvements that they did in this game, there's one that they didn't do that I wish they did. It's having the option for 2 different colored lightsaber blades. Because you can split and go into dual stance so that you're like dual wielding it. And I was like, but what if I want to have like a blue and a green or like I don't know, purple and orange or whatever color combination? And you can't do that. It's all just one color no matter what.
Color. Yeah.
But like, it's got to be 2 crystals because if you split it in half and you still have a blade over here, it's running off of something.
Well, Nathaniel, the way the lore goes, that they don't have.
I don't even care about the lore, really. Like, whatever. Go to Clone Wars. Ahsoka had blue and green so many times.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. No, I agree with you. I wish you could have 2 different color. Because that's the way I prefer the dual blade more so than the single or the.
So I've got all 5 stances now, and the 2 that you get later, I was like, oh, that's neat. Nope.
Yeah.
Although I might go back because you get the Kylo Ren like cross blade whatever thing. It's basically like a heavy, so it's a lot slower attacks, but you do more damage. I'm like, no. speed.
Yeah,
Speed
no.
is where it's at. So I'm doing like dual blade and dual wield so that I can like run around, do all the spins and stuff. Especially once I unlock the move for the dual bladed one, where to close on an enemy from a distance, you hit a button combination, you like dive at them and spin in the air
Yep.
like a propeller blade. It's great.
Yeah, and that's the two stances that I use all the time. I got the Kylo Ren one too, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Used it once and went meh.
Meh.
I'd rather be fast than than to be slow with my long sword and just beat people. So.
Well, there's also a reason to keep the double-bladed one on all the time, is that if you reflect things back with it and hold the button down, you reflect every single bolt back at somebody.
Yeah.
So there's those guys that have the Gatling guns, or just like a bunch of guys shooting you at once. You can take a bunch of people out with that if you're doing it. None of the other stances do that. So that's why I keep that one on for any time where it's like, hey, we're going to sneak a bunch of ranged guys up here on these ledges. And like, yeah, well, good on them. They're dead now.
Go ahead. Crowd control.
Yeah. Plus, they're fun because both of those are much more acrobatic looking than some of the other ones. There's also the blaster one that looks almost like a rapier from the moves, but you also have a blaster that you can shoot people with. I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but nah.
Yeah, I was the same. It's like, it's all right, it's fine, but
not for me. It's fine. I'm just like, no, I like flipping and jumping around with this, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, at least this time they give you more options than they did last time. You got more stance, so more people who like that. Good for them. Yeah. Not me.
I mean, yeah, it's cool. Like, it's having the choices like that is good, so that like you can play it how you want to.
Right. Exactly.
Excuse me.
All right. So, anything else to add there before we send it off to?
I was just gonna go into it a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
I like the way that you have kind of like the big map. That is your kind of like hub world or whatever, and then you go away from it, and then you come back, and now that you have more abilities, you can go down a few different pathways and that kind of stuff. And it's really good about unlocking things at a decent pace, unless you're just off wandering on your own and don't do anything, because most of the stuff is unlocked during kind of like main mission type stuff. I like Grease's Cantina because it's really cool that you have different characters will go in there, and then you get different conversations with them every time you go back. So it's just a cool, interesting space that changes every time you go back there.
And it's cool just to walk around in there and look at things. There's just so much stuff to look at.
It's also fun once you find the people out on the map that are the DJ, basically, the robot DJ. So you actually have like Cantina music playing, but it's all more kind of like electronic and type stuff versus like a Cantina band that you think of from like the original Star Wars.
Right.
So it's not like the jazzy stuff. It's more like kind of like, well, if you think back to Fallen Order, the song at the very beginning of the game that Cal's listening to, not quite the same as that, but more like that than it would be.
Yeah. It's, if you've ever been to Galaxy's Edge, it's like the droid in the Cantina that plays that. If you want to know what I'm talking about, look up Galaxy's Edge DJ music, and it's
I mean, I'm
really
sure if
cool
you're
stuff.
way into that and more nerdy about all those music tracks and know more of them, I'm sure some of these have existed elsewhere. I doubt they were all for the game.
I don't know. None of them sounded familiar.
I wouldn't know either way.
What's funny is that song at the beginning of the original game, the first Fallen Order game, that's actually like the Hue. That's not even like it's, and I didn't realize that till I started listening to them.
Well,
wait a
I'm
minute,
pretty sure they wrote that for the game.
Yeah, they wrote that for the game. Yeah,
that.
It was like, oh, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. That's it's like, oh, I know where I've heard that before.
Yeah,
so, but yeah, it's but if you like that kind of music, look it up on. I think it's on YouTube. It may even be on like Spotify or something like that. They may actually have the DJ mix that they play at Galaxy's Edge in the Cantina.
Right.
It's pretty good. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, like the first game, one of the things that this game does the best is the characters. They just look prettier now because they up the graphics a lot in this game for sure. And I like Grease his look in this game versus the first one, because he has like the long braids and he's got kind of like the Space Miami button up shirt.
Yeah,
He's just like,
I'm retired. I'm retired, so I'm going to just put on my, my lounging pants and shirt and Sit by the.
I also like. I love the robot that's the bartender.
Yeah.
Because he's like robot 1920s bartender almost, but he just happens. I don't know why he has a jar next to his head because he also has the head that swivels around, but then he just has a jar of water up there, but there's not like a fish or anything in it, or it's just okay.
Yeah,
Weird design. It looks cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, there's all sorts of fun little side things that pop up and that unlock through the game. You can plant things on the roof of that thing. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing.
Yep, that's cool. Yeah, when my ally gets back, that's what I'm going to boot up because I really want to finish that game. I wanted to finish it a couple weeks ago and just.
I really need to start it.
Oh, did you buy it? I didn't even know you bought it.
I have it on PS5. I've had it for a while. But
yeah.
Lots of other distractions.
You need to play it. So what else what have you been playing then?
Barely anything. I've just been busy with lots of other stuff. But I've been playing. I played Demon's Tilt. I don't know if you guys own that. It's pretty cool. Like I don't know. It's pinball meets like a shmup. It's really interesting because it's I think Special Reserve or Strictly Limited put out, or maybe Limited Run Games put out a physical one. But it's a pinball game, but you're also like interacting with the table and like shooting down stuff and like hitting like monsters and bosses. It's very fun. I really enjoyed it. I was bored. I own it, so I decided to play it for a little bit. I've dabbled a little bit more in Double Dragon Gaiden. Said same thoughts last time. And I won a code for Risky Woods on Xbox on Twitter. That is an interesting game. I guess it's okay.
Ringing endorsement.
Well, I feel like I'm playing something on the Genesis, and it feels like maybe Golden Axe-ish, kind of, with a little bit bigger sprites. It seems interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
I might play a little bit more. I don't think it's very much. I don't know if you're a fan of that sort of like 2D platformer that could be challenging. Maybe recommend checking it out.
I've seen pictures of it, but I didn't know what it was. It's like, okay, that sounds familiar.
And I think it
was on the Genesis. That's why.
On the Genesis.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about. So I think it was pretty challenging. So it's like I would say it's like a remake for the Xbox. So,
probably.
Like they took the company, took it, and then they just modernized it. It's pretty tough.
I think this was this like an EA game? See, now I've got to look at it.
Yep. It's made by EA.
I was going to say, because it was one of the big cartridges.
Funny,
That's what sticks out
cards,
in my brain. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you know why? Because I have this game on the Genesis.
Why does it not surprise me?
After I looked at I had to look at the box art. Yeah, I got this. I have this game. I have it complete in box. And
the only other interesting thing I did recently is I had an extra copy of Cowabunga Collection on Switch from a deal at Target, and I just hung on to the extra one. I traded it to a guy locally for Truxton on Genesis. Have you heard of that, John?
No, yeah, Truxton's awesome.
It wasn't complete. He had cart and like kind of the box. Box has a lot of damage to it. But,
it's the only game that I really want that I still don't have of Genesis games is Truxton. Truxton's cool. It's a good shoot 'em up. I love it.
He has another copy. I can ask him if he ever wants to get rid of it. He kind of hinted that he might want to get rid of the complete copy. It's somebody who I've done a lot of business.
It's expensive. The complete copy is.
I don't know. For the Cowabunga Collection was $30 on sale, so I think I got a decent deal getting Truxton. So
I mean Truxton. Let's see. Last time I looked at it, if it's a complete copy. I have to look it up because it's been a while since I've looked at the prices of them, but I want to say it was over $100.
I'll pretty much give it up trying to complete my copy of Streets of Rage 3. I'm never going to be able to find a case and manual for that, or the Punisher.
Oh, I have a case.
I'm going to have to buy a complete copy for Streets of Rage 3. The Punisher, I'm just...
Yeah, good luck with that.
I'll stick with my card-only copy because the case and manual for that is like...
Let's see.
Expensive.
Truxton case... The card is $61. The complete's like $150.
Ooh.
So it's a lot.
Okay, card's good enough for me.
Yeah, and that's why I've never bought the game complete because it was so expensive. It's like the shoot 'em up on the Genesis that everybody wants. And I don't know if you ever watched. He used to be on YouTube. It was like Video Game Quarterly or something like that. What was the name of that? That was like he compared every game to Truxton. It was like, is it Truxton? No. Is it a good game? Yes. You know, it's like Truxton was his favorite game. I mean, it's an awesome shoot 'em up, and I love it. And I think I have a reproduction.
I think I have it on the EverDrive probably, and I've probably booted up, but it'll be cool to have the card only.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I just looked at the Punisher case with the manual and the tattoo. It's $400.
Oh yeah, it's
holy crap.
I mean, I've got the cart.
I'm so glad I got the cart like years ago. I think I got it in a trade. I think it was in a lot. I have to go look it up. I don't think I paid more than like $40 for it.
I have to look. I think I've got all. I think the only thing I'm missing with Streets of Rage 3 is the instruction book. I've got the case and the.
Yeah.
I got the case, but I don't have the instruction.
Yeah, somebody offered me a complete copy for $150, and I'm like, well, maybe.
I don't know. I'm out of that game.
Unless if it's something I really want, okay. But for the most part, I'm not gonna spend that.
Yeah, and I've got most of what I really want. Like I said, Truxton would be the only one that would be enticing enough for me to go. Well, maybe I might.
Maybe.
But you know, it'd have to be a screaming deal for me to.
Yeah, I haven't been playing. Hopefully, I can play some more stuff.
Yeah, once my ally gets here, I'll be back to rolling. So, of course, I gotta install everything back on it again. Luckily, I didn't have a lot installed on it, so yeah, it's no big deal. But, all right, well, there really isn't a whole lot of news to talk about this week, other than if you're a Final Fantasy XIV fan, a Fan Fest was going on this weekend, and out of the blue, Phil Spencer walked on stage and said, "Hey, we're bringing Final Fantasy XIV to Xbox and some more Final Fantasy games when possible." So,
did he say Final Fantasy or Square games?
Well, they said Square.
What he actually said.
They said Final Fantasy games is what they said. So, read into it how you want.
Okay.
The funny thing is most of the rumors around for the past 6 months has been, Sony is going to buy Square. Sony is going to buy Square. So it's just really weird to see see Phil Spencer come out on stage at a Square event and say that they're working very closely with Square to bring more Final Fantasy games to the Xbox. And then, you hear this on the other side. It's like, is the rumors really true? Is it just this and that?
I mean, there's been a rumor for Sony buying Square for forever, so who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But yeah.
As far as like Square Enix is concerned, yeah, put them on the Xbox. You'll make money. Cool. Like, why didn't you do this forever ago? It seems silly to me.
I think
especially for something like Final Fantasy 14, that like a subscription thing or something.
Well,
just get people in there.
The one thing, the Final Fantasy 14 was supposed to come out on the 360, back in the day. The problem was Microsoft had that all set up where they didn't want cross-play between PlayStation 3. It was just PC and 360, and Square didn't want that. They wanted it available to everybody. So, since now that Microsoft has kind of, went more of the, hey, we want to play, we let anybody play with anybody, it kind of opened things
It's
back
weird.
up.
When they were on top with the 360, they didn't want to share.
Yeah, I know. They didn't want to share.
Now, what?
They're like, all right, we'll
But
share.
I think a lot of it has to do with the new CEO of Square. I think that has a lot to do with why things weren't on the Xbox. Sony would come in and offer them a big bunch of money to keep things, exclusive for so long with them, and then they would renew those contracts. And I think the new CEO...
That seems really, really dumb to me, because does Sony have enough money to make up the amount that, like, say, if they put out Final Fantasy 16 that just came out, and if it was also available on Xbox day one, how many more copies would they sell?
Yeah, I mean, even if they would sell, I forget how many...
It seems like for something like Final Fantasy that's like that big of a franchise, you figure they would sell plenty if you just have it on a platform.
I mean, even if it was 500,000 units, I mean, that's 500,000 more units, is Sony was paying that much more, I don't know.
Or even if it's like an exclusive window of like a year or whatever, then put them out immediately just to keep working on it so that when you can put it out, but they haven't done that, so it's just kind of, it's weird.
It is weird. And, the funny thing is there's a lot of that stuff that came out during the hearings for Activision Blizzard stuff. And if you're one of those people that want to read through all that, you could see instances where they have said Sony paid this publisher and that publisher to keep things off of Xbox, but they never said how much. How much was it? So that's what I want to know. It's like, is it really enough to keep to not make enough money that I know a lot of those games don't sell tremendously well on Xbox because it's a smaller user base. It's PlayStation.
It's not even that much as a smaller user base either. I think it's just that they have bad data. Yeah. You can't know how much it would sell there unless you have multiple times where it's just there.
Right.
Instead of just oh, hey, here's this old thing that we were putting on here that no one's really interested anymore. That's not going to give you the same, data back that says hey, people are interested or not. You just don't know because hey, this thing that's old, are people going to care about it, whatever platform it's on or not? You don't know that. But if it's Final Fantasy 16 comes out and it's on PlayStation and Xbox, and then you can see how much it sells on both platforms, that's a much more even kind of look at it, right?
Right.
And we haven't had that with Square Enix for a long time.
Right, yeah. Well,
even for the stuff from the American side that they got rid of those studios, so Tomb Raider and all those, that was almost the opposite, where they're we'll put this on an Xbox first and then put it on PlayStation later.
Yeah.
They just never had it one thing where it's just here, it's coming out everywhere all at once. We want to have our deals, I guess. Maybe that's just what Square Enix likes to do.
Maybe, yeah. And when you're talking to Japanese companies, there may be something to that. I don't know.
Yeah, as far as that with Sony goes, sure.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? You were talking about. Oh shoot! I can't remember now. I lost it
bad data, John. Bad data.
Well, you were. I can't remember what it was I was going to say now. But anyway, yeah. It's like with the PlayStation 5, the sales of those numbers came out, and I think there's 40 million consoles of that sold, which it's on par to outpace PlayStation 5 at this point at the same time of release. But at the same time, there's the software sales are not that high, so it's okay, they sold 1 million copies of this game, but you got 40 million units out there. So what are people playing? They're playing other games. So it's just because Square thinks, oh well, we'll take the money to keep Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 16 off Xbox. We'll make more money this way. How do you know that? You don't know because. Okay, maybe you might sell half as many as you do on the Xbox as you do on the PlayStation, but still, is Sony paying you that much more money that it covers that cost? Who knows? I don't know. It's a weird thing, and at some point,
maybe it's not all about money too. Maybe there's some other stuff built into that they get access to some tech or
could be
some resources, or just we're building a relationship with you and keeping that going, or whatever it may be.
Well, and that's what a lot some people think too. It's Sony ponies up some money to help produce a game. Well, that's true too. But how many times has Microsoft ponied up to produce a game and kept it maybe 3 months, 6 months or sometimes it releases just day one on Game Pass and everywhere else at the same time, and that's Microsoft money, they don't care. It's it makes them money. I don't know. It seems like it's getting to be an archaic way of thinking, and maybe one company is thinking ahead and another company's just going on like they always do. So, and that's fine.
You said the words Game Pass, and I suddenly thought of other news of they're getting rid of Xbox Live Gold, whatever, and just sort of renaming it basically. But there's not going to be games with gold anymore. It's going to be kind of here's 25.
It's 25 curated games that rotate out every month or 2 months.
It makes me sad because I wonder if that means that we can't do the upgrade from Gold to Game Pass up. price exploit.
I don't
anymore.
think you can anymore. I don't think that'll be a thing anymore. So all I
That
got
doesn't matter. I still have another year plus on it, so I'll find out then.
Yeah, I've still got another, I think 2 years or something like that. I don't remember how long I have. I know it added 3 more months to it because when I got the Ally, there was a thing to update it. I'd have to look. I can look here and tell you exactly when it expires because I can pull up the Game Pass app and it will tell me.
It will tell you.
Because I'm kind of curious because it's like, well, if with the price change and stuff, because they've changed the price. July 10th of 2025. So I've still got 2 years left.
You got lots of time. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Game Pass is just the same as the Sony PlayStation Plus nonsense now. They're both pretty similar of just how many tiers that they have. And it's not necessarily the same for what each tier offers, but you have to look at do I want this tier or that tier or that tier? And then I think that sometime we're supposed to have family stuff with Xbox.
Well, that's the rumor.
Potentially, so that would be another one if it happens.
Apparently, they beta tested that, and then it's went out of beta, and I think they're just doing analysis right now. Nobody said if they're with them not rolling right into it. I'm guessing maybe it might not be as popular or as success as they were hoping it would be.
I don't know that that's the case. I think they're just going to look at it and be like, does this make sense to complicate our ecosystem by adding this as on the offering versus how much money we think we'll make from it?
Yeah, that's true too. I don't know. Yeah, but that's the one thing with the Xbox Live. Well, what's taking the place of Xbox Live? You can still buy a year of that for $60 regardless.
It's just mostly a name change, and then games with gold is going to be a collection of stuff versus free games every month.
Which that's fine. They had
all
got
the stuff
to the
with games
point.
with gold have been terrible for years anyway.
Yeah.
There's every once in a while maybe one thing that you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, but most of them are like, I haven't even heard of this game.
Yeah, and it kind of got to the point where they were running dry on unless they were doing brand new games out the gate. It was like you're not going to get a decent game on the Games for Gold to make it worthwhile anyway. So
I mean, if you're gonna call it a Game Pass bottom tier, I forget what it's called, but if you're gonna call it that anyway, might as well have just okay, here's a taste of all this stuff. But it's also if you just want the next tier up of Game Pass, it's $1 more a month or something like that. So just might as well do full Game Pass at that point.
Right? Yeah, and you'll get, then you get
all the games.
You'll get all the games. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is I guess if you do the $1 or more a month, you don't get the online because that's not Ultimate. So you'd have to go for Ultimate to get online and Game Pass. Game Pass itself doesn't come with gold. So
then that's dumb. They should just change that to where it's in there.
Yeah, they should. That was
it's a subscription thing. Why wouldn't it be in there? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, it's Ultimate. Ultimate has everything. It has online and the Game Pass and the PC. If you just do Game Pass, if you just do Game Pass, that's for games only. That's not online. And this other thing, the base one, is online but not Game Pass. So
why you gotta make it confusing? Just make it where tier 1 is this, tier 2 you get a little bit more, then tier 3 you get all the things instead of this weird mismatch.
Because when parents go to buy things at Christmas time, they don't know what they're buying. That's why they do it.
You don't want that. That's stupid. That doesn't help anyone.
Oh, I know.
Not knowing what they're buying isn't better or worse for you. It's just making the consumer confused.
I agree, but as someone who worked retail for almost 15, 20 years, to see what these companies have done over those 15 and 20 years, not just Microsoft, but Sony and Nintendo too. Oh, yeah. They do that crap and confuse the heck out of parents who don't keep up with it. And when Christmas time rolls around, they're like, my kid wants this, 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 and this. And okay, it's going to be this much. Well, why is it going to be this much? He said it was going to be that much. Well, to get this and this, you have to buy that and that. And it's this much. Well, why do I have to do that? Well, because that's the way it is.
And by the way, is the Wii U just an accessory?
That's just a tablet that connects to your Wii, right? Because, that would make sense. Oh my gosh, I will never forget how many people came in the store when that Wii U came out and was like,
I just need his brain hurts.
Yeah, it's like, I need a Wii U. Okay, it's $300. Well, why is it so much? It's just an add-on for the Wii, isn't it? No. It's a whole other system, people. Well, I don't understand. Of course you don't.
I mean, at this point, it's pretty much Might as well not exist, except for the few games that haven't been ported to Switch.
Yep, that is
It's got
true.
most of the stuff that was on there has been out on Switch since. So
Yeah, now there's all these problems with bits of it starting to fail too because of the tech it was made with too.
Yeah,
It's been a
I
big thing
mean,
all over
if-
Twitter.
Yeah, so
What's that modder? John starts with a V.
Voltar. Yeah, if
Voltar,
you,
I saw the NAND. He was talking about that, fixing it and stuff.
yeah, he has a
like,
fix
extend
for
the
it that
life.
you have to. It's something with a memory chip on the board that will fail if you haven't had it on in so long or hooked up or plugged in or anything like that. It literally causes the Wii U to not work. So you have to. There's a chip that he made that you go in and you put it on the board and it fixes it.
He's doing some good work, but at the same time, I'm just like, oh boy.
I haven't had my Wii U on in quite a while. I haven't even had it hooked up, so it's like, I really.
You're gonna turn it on. You're gonna be like, why is this taking so long?
Yeah, it's gonna be like, I need to go buy that chip. So it's which is fine. I mean, it's like a $30 chip. It's not.
Go buy that or go buy bags of chips.
I do have a bag of chips. We went to Sam's yesterday, and Nikki, they had a bag of popcorn. It was this long. It's humongous. It was $5. Like
3 or 4 feet long.
Yes. Yeah. And she brought it in there. We were watching TV this afternoon. She brought it in there, snack on some. I said, that bag is not a snack bag. You're gonna have to put that in a bowl. Because literally, I would set it on the couch. You know how you'd normally hold a bag while you're watching something, if you just want a few. I had to set it on the couch, and it was like up in my face. It's like,
see, you're just not thinking right, John. It's a snack bag and a body pillow all at once.
You're about right. It's about the size of a body pillow. You're not wrong. I was like, yeah.
It's just a little lumpy.
Yeah, a little crunchy, smells like butter. It's like,
hey, that's a benefit.
That could be.
Like you'll have some good dreams if you nap on that.
Hey, whatever anybody wants in their body pillows, I'm not going to judge. I mean,
it's John's will be a long thing of usual snack bag like this.
I'm not going to judge on on body pillows, so whatever. All right, well, it's a kind of a short show, but it's like there wasn't a whole lot of news, and we're trying to keep shows going every 2 weeks because I know Eric's got things going on next month, so we may be a hit or miss next month.
Yeah, probably there'll probably be at least one I can make, but I'm gonna be pretty busy. I'm traveling a lot.
Yeah, I get that, and we'll see how it goes if we can get
that other guy. What's his name? What's his face?
Dennis, that's it. Dennis guy.
That's that guy.
Or maybe even, what's that other guy? His name, Herbert? No, Robert.
Yes.
Robert, that's it.
Roberto,
yeah.
We're not changing it until he gets here to correct it.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, I know you got some things going on next month. We may take a trip the middle of the month on the weekend. So I mean, cool. We'll see. We gotta get a dog sitter broke in before November. So it's like, well, maybe we'll just take a weekend and just go up the road and stay somewhere and let them.
You gotta give them some practice. Right?
Oh yeah, especially with my nuts. These 2 dogs are nuttier than a fruitcake. So it's like, yeah, you need. We need to make sure. I don't want to get to Disney World in November and halfway through the babysitter goes, you know what? These guys, she's crazy. I'm out. But yeah, like I always say, follow us on Twitter at GL_podcast. You'll know when we're planning on recording. If you want to come hang out live, and if not, hey, no big deal. It'll be on the podcatcher whenever we record one. So hopefully we'll be back in 2 weeks. But like I said, we'll see how things go and go from there. But just we'll let you know. We'll
see what the universe throws at us.
That's pretty much. Right. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for listening and hanging out with us, and we'll catch you all next time.
See you later.